Hi, it's Harry. Happy Canada Day, everyone. Well, the June numbers are in from Krebs. What we're seeing is the last month of the spring market, and like all spring markets before the season, likely our seasonal high. We've reached 670,000, just under that overall. The definite high for this year. It's only up maybe a percent from last year, but a percent from last month, but 3.6% from last year. So kind of an inflationary overall uptick. Time to sell has increased. However, if you look at metrics on homes sold over inventory, we're down somewhere between the 2 to 4% range. So the market has been fairly steady till last year. No major increases except maybe inflation. And in fact, sales are down. We're at about just under 2,200 in total sales and around 6,800 in inventory for all residential categories in the in Calgary. This is, with all the uncertainty out there, not surprising. We're yet to see how the Kuzma effects are going to affect us, and we know that the inflationary increases on energy costs are starting to roll through the market. We're into June, so we should start to see it. We already see it in the airline costs. I'm expecting to see it in our service and merchandise costs because, quite frankly, everything that we get delivered into stores are off trucks and they run on diesel. And for quite a few months, we've seen a 50% increase in energy costs across the board. So that's where we state in the overall market. The two markets that have been quite stable, in fact, they're verging on a seller's market, is both the detach and attach markets, which are the semis. Um, no real increase in sales on the detached side at around 1,200, but prices are up again, inflationary about 3%. Very similar to last year's prices, around 844,000. The shining light is in the semi-detached market where folks have started to pile into. We're at about 712,000 overall. Um, Although it's a very small market in a range of 234 sales, but that's still up 10% from last year. Again, a slight seller's market. The real market that we've seen a depression in is really the condo market. The Because of the overbuild of row townhomes, we've seen a decrease of pricing in the neighborhood of around 7% at about 433,000. Not so bad in the apartment condo where it's down about 3% over last year at about 340,000. But I believe this condo market reduction in pricing, we'll see it through the summer. But as I've said before, this is not the sky is falling. A true market correction is 10%, and we haven't even seen that. I mean, this is, we're in a 3 to 7%, 5% on average range for the condo market. So I can see it slowly drift downward throughout the summer months, and I expect the same to occur in the detached and semi-detached markets, where I can see us heading into that balance market for those markets, and then obviously in the condo staying in the buyer's market range. I don't expect many changes till we see a little clarity on the Kuzma deal with the U.S., as well as um, the resolution for the November midterm elections down south, where I expect that it'll go Democratic, which means there'll be a curbing of Trump's powers. So, so for me, I don't see a real impetus to sell till next year because that's where I expect to see some of the price increases. Um, if you're a buyer, no, there's no reason to stop buying. You might see some drift down in prices, maybe 1 or 2%. But what I find is that you may not, what you end up giving up on is whether you get the property you want in the locale you want. So you might see 1 or 2% savings in my mind on a buy sell through the summer market before it picks up again in the fall, but not like a major like 5-10% drop. I don't expect that unless something really significant happens out there. Um, do a again, we might see some relief from energy pricing, but given that what seemed like peace negotiations has gone back to more of a war footing again, it hopefully this is not a forever war, but it's starting to look like it. Hopefully this gives you a feel for where I'm at. You're basically my earlier premise of I see things comparable to last year, which was comparable to the year before, bearing out, and I think this will bear out for the remainder of this year, with 2027 being when we could see some relief or incremental increase. Hopefully this is helpful. Hopefully you're enjoying the Canada Day weekend in Calgary. Finally turned sunny after that thunderstorms that moved through. Otherwise, have a great day. Bye now.